Right now, Kendrick and I are going to squash the beef to get you a 1600 on your SAT. Let's look over some grammar.
Okay, fine. So usually for SAT grammar, the first thing I try is substituting the possible answers in for the underlined phrase. This makes the answers to tense and pluralization agreement fairly obvious.
So looking at this question, if we try each answer choice, it makes no sense to say her writing were honored, her writing have been honored, or her writing are honored. Only her writing has been honored makes sense. This creates tense and pluralization agreement.
More difficult questions can be based on punctuation because you can't simply use a sound test to check for correctness. The differences between these symbols may seem minor, but they are very important. We'll go over a period, comma, semicolon, colon, dash, and apostrophe.
First, we need to understand the difference between dependent and independent clauses. An independent clause can stand on its own. It's a complete thought. There's nothing missing. An example is, he is a sigma. We aren't left wondering about anything else.
On the other hand, a dependent clause has a missing component. It needs extra information to make sense. An example of this is, although he is a sigma. See, here we are being edged. This is an incomplete thought. Kind of like all of your music, Drake.
Chill, bro. So now that y'all know the difference, let's hop into the punctuation. Both a period and a semicolon are used to separate two independent clauses. A period typically separates different ideas, while a semicolon separates similar thoughts.
Yes, Drake, but the SAT typically isn't detailed enough to make this distinction. Usually, if both a period and semicolon are answer choices and everything else about the answer is the same, they must both be wrong because they both perform the same function.
Okay, now let's talk about commas. I know a lot about these because I got stacks. If a comma is followed by a coordinating conjunction from fanboys, it can separate two independent clauses. A comma can also separate a dependent and independent clause, as seen here. Dot commas are also used to separate items of lists.
Yes, Drake. A pair of commas can also be used to separate unnecessary information from a sentence. Here, unnecessary means that the function will still make sense, even without the information. An example of this is Kendrick, the sigma is the best. We don't need the sigma for this to make sense. A pair of dashes or parentheses also does the same thing. So if you see that these symbols and answer choices separate information in the same way, all of those choices should be wrong.
Okay, now we're on to the colon. This type of punctuation is used to introduce a series of items or a quotation. It can also be used to separate two independent clauses if the second clause summarizes, explains, or provides an example of the first one.
Finally, we have the apostrophe. This is used to either indicate a contraction or possession. Please know that its means it is, whereas its means belonging to it. When discussing possession, an apostrophe S at the end of a word means that the thing to which it is referring belongs to the subject. If the subject ends in S, you just throw on an apostrophe to the end. However, if the only answer choice is S apostrophe S, this isn't necessarily wrong and could be what you're looking for. It's weird, like Drake. Okay, that was a lot. Subscribe, please.